You ever wonder what's actually going on inside an examiner's head when they're marking your paper? Well, today we're going to pull back the curtain. We're decoding a real GCSE math mark scheme to see exactly how those marks are won. It's not just about getting the right answer at the end, it's all about the journey. Okay, let's get into it. So here it is, 45.6. For question 5 on this paper, this is the number that gets you that final accuracy mark. But how do you actually guarantee you get all the marks on the way there? How do you prove your method, even if you make a tiny slip-up right at the end? Well, the secrets aren't some kind of magic formula. They are laid out plain as day right here in the official mark scheme. This thing is the rule book. It's what examiners have to follow, and we're going to break it down, piece by piece. All right, let's start at the very beginning. How do you lock in that first absolutely crucial mark? In these bigger problem-solving questions, it's usually what's called a process mark, basically a reward for just starting off on the right foot. And here's the official name for it, a P mark. The mark scheme itself defines it as a process mark awarded for a correct process. Now, this is so important because it means your thinking, your strategy is being rewarded, not just whether your final calculation is perfect. For this particular question, the mark scheme couldn't be clearer. To get that first process mark, the P1, you have to show, and I'm quoting here, a process to start to work with the ratio. And what's really cool is that the mark scheme actually gives you a couple of different ways to prove you've done that. So let's look at the first valid approach. We'll call it the ratio share method. This is probably the way most people would think to tackle a problem like this. First, you just add up the parts of the ratio. So 3 plus 5 gives you 8 total parts. Then you take the total amount, 240, and you divide it by those 8 parts. And honestly, that's it. Just writing down 240 divided by 8 is enough to show you have a process. You've shown the examiner you know the correct first step, and bam, that gets you the P1 mark. Just like that. You're on the scoreboard. But hang on, what if your brain doesn't immediately go there? What if you think more algebraically? Well, the good news is the mark scheme totally has you covered. Let's check out the second valid method, the algebra route.
Believe it or not, simply writing down an algebraic representation like this, where pens are 3n and pencils are 5n, also completely ticks the box. You haven't even done any arithmetic yet, but you've shown you understand the fundamental relationship between the quantities. That counts as a correct process, and it earns you the exact same P1 mark.
Okay, now for the really juicy stuff. Let's look over at the additional guidance column. This is where the mark scheme gives little extra notes to the examiners, just to clear up any gray areas and make sure the marking is totally fair and consistent for every single student.
Right, the first piece of guidance is a total classic. You can work in pounds or pence, but you have to be consistent. This means if you decide to convert everything to pence and your friend works in pounds, you're both totally fine, as long as neither of you mixes them up halfway through. It's all about making sure that process mark can still be given because the method itself is sound.
Now this next bit is brilliant. It really shows how examiners can give you the benefit of the doubt. The guidance says that seeing an answer of 90 or 150 imply P1. What does that mean? It means if you've correctly worked out the value of the 3 parts as 90 or the 5 parts as 150, the examiner can actually infer that you did that first step correctly in your head. You might not have written 240 divided by 8, but your answer of 90 or 150 proves you must have done it, and that's enough for the mark.
So we've gone pretty deep into just the first mark for one single question. We've seen there are multiple right ways to start, and we've seen the little notes that help examiners make fair calls. So what's the one single biggest takeaway from all of this? What's the golden rule?
It's this. Sounds simple, right? But it is absolutely critical. Show you're working. As we've just seen, marks are given for correct processes, not just for perfect answers. An examiner can only give you credit for what they can actually see on the page. So think of it this way. Your working is you, communicating with the examiner. It's the story of how you thought through the problem. Make sure you tell that story.